It's late, but we're back.
We're back.
We're committed.
Fresh off the fight night. We'll talk about that later, but that's some interesting things to talk about.
We got some
already.
very interesting things to talk about.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to hit play now. So it's the part where you watch.
December 1st.
There is a rumor, at least if you listen to Instagram or Donald Cerrone, that he might fight Conor McGregor. That would be exciting. I'm putting my money on Donald.
Tough fight.
For Donald?
Both of them. Good fight.
Yeah.
Good fight. Great fight. If I had to bet money on it,
Yeah.
from my sources,
Yeah.
I think it's happening.
Yeah.
Just got to wait for Conor to sign the contract.
I believe Donald deserves that, and I'd be really excited to see that.
It's a smart move, man. It's such a smart move because for Cowboy, he's the most winningest fighter of all time.
God.
He's very, very recognizable. He's coming off a huge win.
Yeah.
It's fucking Donald Cerrone. He wants to come down to 55. For Conor, you got a guy who will play the game with you. He's gonna strike with you.
Yep.
You're also fighting the winningest UFC fighter of all time. Cowboy's a big name. It's not an impossible matchup for Conor. Khabib, there couldn't be a tougher matchup for him.
That's
so
right.
Conor needs to get a win. So
Yeah.
I would imagine, I don't know, but the odds might be in Conor's favorite. He might be the favorite here slightly. I would imagine. I don't know. It's not a easy fight for Conor or Cowboy.
Okay.
My guy, Cowboy.
So I know you're hyped because your boy's gonna get a payday, as he deserves. I'm so happy he's getting his payday.
I'm a contender.
I'm so happy the way he beat Perry. I think he earned that. I heard Winklejohn had some things to say his side of the story. I really didn't care, to be honest. I'm being biased.
But a quick sidebar
Take
on
the
that.
fighters' side. I wish we got something out of Jackson, but that all aside.
Well, Jackson's not involved.
Yeah, but whatever. That all aside.
Listen,
I'm happy
but
for him.
all I'm saying is weak that a fighter.
Who's winning the fight? I know you're a fan.
I'm so emotional.
Don't be a super fanboy about this. Now listen, I know Conor didn't look great in his last fight, and Cerrone did.
Right.
Who are you taking if it's time to bet? Okay.
Ride or die.
Okay.
I will put money on
Now, is that because it's your homie and it's a thing, or like, do you believe his style
it's a bit of
matches
both.
up well with a healthy Conor? I don't believe Conor was in good shape against Khabib.
No. I think
those
Conor
punches did not zing the same way. I don't care what anybody says.
Nope.
I think that Conor could have lost to a lot of the guys he's already beaten.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion. I don't think that Eddie Alvarez fight looks the exact same with that Conor.
No.
The punches weren't zinging, the head movement wasn't there. That's my opinion. But let's say Conor's in shape.
Right.
And he's like Eddie Alvarez Conor, right? Which I hope he's been humble enough to be that.
Yeah.
You think the stylistically...
I think most definitely out of everyone at that division outside of Khabib, I think Cowboy has the best shot. And Tony. I forgot Tony. I feel like guys who have the ability to mix it up standing significantly with multiple tools. One thing we've seen from Conor, and you can watch this, leg kicks have been an issue for him in terms of getting him off
But he's a
balance, things like
southpaw.
that. He is.
And listen, I'm a huge Cerrone fan.
I know. I'm a big one.
In no way am I going to disrespect the man's stand-up. He's got it. But does he not have very much that style that Conor came in the game talking about, which is tailor-made for him?
100%. I wouldn't say tailor-made.
He has a very traditional Muay Thai style, correct?
Yeah.
He's an amazing fighter, so I don't want to critique the guy.
No, but you're bringing up, I get your point. And
But
you're bringing
you
up
remember like the Pettis fight and
Yeah.
some other fights where these guys who were very big on accuracy and like the movement. That's a thing that if Conor is in shape for, do you not think Cerrone is a little too traditional in his stance?
Here's why the number one thing I think people are going to overlook. I think Cowboy now is at a point in his career where for him it's not just about exciting fights anymore. And I think
this is a huge payday.
No. I'm not even talking about payday or anything. I'm talking about Cowboy fighting smart now. Doing different
takedowns. That's
the biggest thing. So that's the biggest thing.
So now I have a question. I led you into this question, right?
Yeah, because now you're gonna bring up Conor's wrestling against.
Well, no, I'm gonna bring up this actually. What I'm gonna say is, would you be satisfied with Cerrone go out there and like wrestling him?
100%. It's martial arts. It's martial arts. Yeah.
Fine. So, like, with that being said, I think that's something that people are missing in this. Everyone, I'm reading a lot of responses, and I'm saying I could see Cerrone, dude. If depending on when he's gonna get paid, it'll be his biggest payday ever.
100%.
Depending on what that winning side says, this to show up, this to win. Depending on what that says, we might not get the fight that everybody is hoping they might get. Cerrone,
I know for a fact we're not getting that. I can tell you right now, people want to see what like
They want to see
Cerrone.
a stand. Yeah,
They want to see Cerrone, Rick Story, Cerrone Cote. They want to
To
see.
your point,
No.
I think Cerrone's smart, and
Yeah.
I think he's coming back down to 55, which I think is going to play a role, right? That's another thing we can talk about, that he's talking about how much happier he is at 70, and maybe that's what he's forgetting. Maybe he's already forgotten how much happier he is.
Well, one thing that I do know
When's the
that
last
was
time he's
said.
dropped that 15 pounds?
It's been what, 2 or 3 years?
It's very easy to forget what that felt like.
Yeah, but in all fairness, he's
Especially on
been
the way.
walking around lighter now though.
Great.
Because he used to get heavy.
A lot of that has to do with these new regulations too.
Yeah, of course.
So my personal question is like, has he forgotten why he moved up? And we're going on a press tour with Conor McGregor, and one thing we can say about Donald, I remember Cerrone brought this up. We never knew he was going to show up.
That's true.
And a lot of times this guy's getting his head or some type of. That's why I was so happy in this Mike Perry fight.
Yeah.
But for me, Mike Perry wasn't the one getting his head. I think it was easier for him to detach it. I don't think he had that visceral. I don't think he got.
I was nervous because Donald was fighting at home in front of his
Yeah.
kid, his grandma.
I think
Perry's
Mike
talking
Perry made it
shit.
easy.
He has to look at Winklejohn in the other corner. I got nervous.
Maybe it was talking shit, but it was like comical, like
It was, but it
wasn't like that bad to Cerrone. It wasn't like.
No, but we've seen Cerrone teeter.
Yeah.
And once again, he's my favorite fighter.
But there's a lot of guys who we've seen lose to where it's like, I remember with the Pettis thing. I remember when Pettis wouldn't touch his hand because he was kind of talking
Yeah,
crazy.
and then he hit him with the body
I
shot.
remember like the look on Cerrone's face, like he was upset that he wouldn't touch his hand. I felt like it was a different
Yeah.
fighter when he fought Diaz. You know what I mean? Like
That was really bad.
you know what I mean? Like those are moments where I felt like the confidence of the other guy got to him.
Yeah.
And who's the king of that?
Conor.
Now once again, I shouldn't be giving Conor credit for coming back. We don't know if he'll ever come back the same.
Yeah.
Dude, Dana White might be fully right. It might be almost impossible to train that way with $100 million in the bank, unless you're Floyd Mayweather. He might be the only guy who's proven they can handle that type of money. I haven't seen anybody else handle it well.
No.
And the
I get that, because if you look back at it, like,
Mike
John
Tyson,
got weird.
a lot of guys,
Yeah.
when they got to that level of money,
Yeah.
and so watching
Guys even before that level of money, it's gotten weird.
yeah, and so watching Broner, for example, which that's another thing we're gonna talk about. Oh, we're talking about that. That's another thing that's crazy to think about is like, you know, is it possible that it's impossible to get up for fights and have the same hunger? I mean, I don't want to take that away from him, but man, like
I'll be real. If you trip and fall on $100 million,
yeah, I'm not feeling sorry for him.
no, but I'm saying
Don't get me wrong.
if you trip and fall on $100 million,
Yeah.
getting beat up isn't. When you come from nothing and then you kind of got the one thing you've always wanted.
Now, I like that he wants Khabib again.
I like that.
That's a good sign mentally, but man,
Here's the thing. He made a good comment after that fight. He did say, "Look, if it's not Khabib right away, I'll fight someone else that's in the top."
well, that's why this is gonna happen.
Exactly.
This is a perfect fight for him.
Exactly.
And this is like his new wave Dustin Poirier, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If he comes back in shape and focused, I even think with the wrestling ball, I'll just give my pick. I still think if Conor's at his peak, I think the difference between Conor at his peak would have been a much different fight with Khabib, right?
Yeah.
And Khabib still might have won. You know, I think wrestling.
I know,
is-
but we would have seen something different.
yeah, I think some of those punches land would have had a bigger effect. I don't think he would have gotten caught with that overhand right that easily.
Yeah.
I think it was just like he did not seem as sharp. 2 years off is a long time. I don't want to hear about he boxed with Mayweather. I don't want to hear that
Well,
crap.
here's
It's not
thing.
the same.
But then what do you say to
It's not the
guys?
same.
What do you say to guys like Dominic Cruz who
It's not the
say
same.
rust isn't real?
Well, no, I think rust isn't real if you have that mentality like a Dominic Cruz where you stay obsessed and you stay disciplined. He's a guy.
That's
who,
true. Yeah.
You know, he didn't get 3 knee injuries and then $100 million. Like Dominic Cruz is coming from a place where it's much easier to feel that way.
Fair.
We've seen Conor come back from an injury, and it was the same thing. He came back to me better than ever.
Yeah.
Right? We forget the ACL, right? So
Yeah. Hungry.
can Dominic Cruz really say that if he had $100 million and those 3 injuries? Like, would Dominic Cruz really be putting his body through what he's putting it through if he had $100 million? I think he'd be crazy if he did. For what he's gone through,
Yeah.
I think for him, he's being driven off something completely different at this
Yeah.
point.
I mean, now his arms aren't
He broke
good.
his arm, so like how many? It's like 3 knee injuries, arm, like
A groin.
Yeah,
He
man.
tore his groin.
If
like,
you had $100 million, I don't know, other than straight legacy.
Yeah.
And like I said, Dominic Cruz just seems like a different type of guy than Conor.
Yeah.
Conor seems like he likes to party.
we
Him
know.
and Dylan Dennis like to party.
We know this.
And drinking whiskey at the press conference, like,
2 weeks before the
And
fight.
people,
I didn't
it's
like
just one shot, it's promotion, but it's like, yeah, but it kind of, to me, still...
It lets you know where he's at.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like,
what?
I don't like the fact that you're even thinking about that way. Like, he was too focused on the whiskey, so
Yeah.
we don't know what he's going to ever come back like. And that's why this is very intriguing, because
And-
it's like so many different Donalds could show up.
Yeah.
The 155 version of Donald, we don't know what that's going to look like now at this age, 3 years later, bro.
Yeah, because he went on that.
Cutting
wicked
weight 3 years later in your life is not the same as when you did it the first time.
Yeah.
That's another thing I don't think he's understanding. Like, you're not... How old is he now?
He's what, 35?
I mean,
36?
21 fights, right? Wins? 21 wins?
Yeah. He's
Right.
had. Remember, he was a kickboxer before MMA.
That is freaking crazy, bro.
Yeah,
So,
he's
like,
had a lot of fights.
when you think about, like, 3 more years, who knows if his body can handle. That's another thing that could come into play where, like,
Yeah.
dude, that's a big deal.
And here's the thing: there's two sides to another coin. Like, realistically, Connor's wrestling looked good against Khabib.
You know, people didn't get... Yeah, I know people are trolling me because they're like, oh, you're a wrestler.
No.
He
But
looked
look at
like
the-
he learned some things.
Remember the little intricacies? We were watching it.
At the
little
beginning, he
things,
was
the little-
doing better than a lot of people.
He
He
is.
did better than Barbosa did. I don't care what anybody says.
Easily.
People give me crap about that. Like, I remember when he sat down that hip, I'm like, listen, I'm not saying that, like, he can make up for the difference that quick. But you know what? Sadly, those 2 years, if he would have been training, he could have.
100%.
Right? Like, that's something. But, you know, he made $100 million.
Yeah,
And
I get
this
it.
is...
I get it.
This is
But-
prize fighting.
Yeah. The other side to that coin with his wrestling, though, is that Cerrone's dangerous off of his back. Very dangerous.
Well, we're not worried about
even
Conor
if he gets
taking it,
dropped,
yeah.
no, but even if he gets, I'm thinking if he gets dropped, lulls him in, that's
My
still
concern
dangerous.
is that, like, Donald still gets touched, and when he gets touched, he gets wild. Like, I feel like he's a good fighter overall, but
Yeah.
like when he gets touched, it does.
and look,
affect
he
him.
does disengage with his chin in the
Yeah, and he
that.
does get touched, and when he does, it does seem to bother him. And like I said, it depends on what Conor shows up. I know Donald will be motivated.
Yeah.
But that weight cut, man, 3 years later.
Yeah,
That's a big deal, man. And you
making me
moved
nervous.
away for a reason.
Yeah.
And he was used to cutting that weight when they were allowing IVs. The rules are different. Like, I know the money's an issue.
I mean, no, he still made 55 post IVs.
Yeah, but not that many. He was one of those guys
Yeah.
like Dos Anjos.
Yeah.
That moved up. He's part of that whole wave of guys
That just
who are
decided to go. Yeah.
and they're going on their run. So now,
Right.
like, you know, you're on a run. You're doing well at 70. Not, you know what I mean? Like, for you to want to go back to 55, it feels like it's a money thing,
Yeah.
and that's a concern.
Yeah.
A little bit. Like, are you gonna just do this to make the money, and you're not gonna come in the best
Take
shape?
it serious. Yeah.
I know he's gonna take it serious, but like, you know, I want well for him, man. And that's a weird thing about this, right? Like,
I know.
I don't want to see Conor lose again because I don't want to believe that Conor's run is over because I think that's not good for the sport.
Yeah.
People can say, "Oh, you're being a fan," but no, I think he's good for the sport.
Mm-hmm.
I love when he's at peak level. I think like every fighter can learn from the Conor who fought Poirier, the Conor who fought not Dos Anjos. Diego Brandao. The guy
Marcus
who's
Burnett.
that guy. I think is take all the talking and nonsense away. I think he's very valuable for the sport. So I want him to win, but then I don't want to see Donald Cerrone get like embarrassed or nothing. I don't want it to be.
Let me ask you.
I want it to make I want it to be like some type of like war.
Let me ask you this,
and then maybe it's knocked down like the fourth.
Or not at all. Let me ask you this though.
Let's be honest. That's not going 5 rounds.
Donald wins, Conor loses. Does Conor A, go back to 45, B, finish fighting?
Listen, this is not a disrespect to Cerrone at all, but I think even if he decides to fight, his reign is over if he can't beat Donald Cerrone. That's my personal opinion. That's no disrespect to Donald Cerrone, but Donald Cerrone was never a champ for a reason, and that's no disrespect, but it's true.
Yeah.
And for what Conor is and how young he is, to lose to a guy who's kind of bounced back and forth weight class and never got a championship at that age, and then that many fights, man.
Yeah.
Like, if you're already done or you can't beat this guy with that many miles on his body, it's at that point like a difference in your discipline and focus. Because Conor at his peak was better than Donald Cerrone. The man's a double champ.
Yeah,
So
you can't.
So at his peak, so like if you can't beat an older Donald Cerrone after all these fights, all these camps, and then he's cutting the weight, I don't know if Conor ever bounces back.
So you're taking B.
What?
He's done fighting.
Oh, you really believe he's done?
But because here's the thing, man. If you got,
I'm not saying he's done fighting. I just don't think it'll ever be the same.
I don't think he would.
Like, listen, when you hear that Anderson Silva might be coming back, do you care?
Wait, is that a joke or is that for real?
But do you really care? Is it the same as
I care because like Dan looks very old, and that is very dangerous. I'm on the top side of Team
Anderson
Fighter.
Silva.
Oh, Anderson Silva.
Do you care as much?
Is he fighting Stylebender?
That'd be kind of dope. But you got my
Wait, I made you care though. I made you care though.
damn. Because I've heard things.
Okay, but I just made you care.
Yo,
So-
UFC, if that wasn't on the plates, if you want to make Stylebender a star,
You're welcome.
because dude, the rumor is that he's considering coming back. These Brazilians will fight till they're 50. And he was a legend.
Sean Shelby, Dana White, you're welcome.
Okay, I just cared. You're right. But
Right? So matchups matter. It
yeah.
depends.
But you see my point. Like
Yeah.
once he started losing, it's just not the same.
No, for sure.
So
And he hasn't fought in 4 years. No, I lied. It's Nick
Hasn't been
Diaz.
4 years.
It's Nick
Yeah.
Diaz who hasn't fought in 4 years.
and he's fighting Jorge Masvidal.
Yes.
That is official like a whistle.
In March.
I didn't even expect to talk about that, but like,
We'll touch on
guys letting us do it.
Yeah, our producers let us do it. Let's touch on that.
So,
Oh boy.
what has Nick been doing? Have you gotten any? No jokes, but let's keep it real.
Okay, no. I have a theory. I have an honest theory, and it's not.
I don't want to hear your theory. I want to know if you've heard something through somebody like.
No. But I have no. But it's not crazy. It's
Tell
not
me
crazy.
some other time.
So Nick is 34 years old now.
Nick's older than 34.
No, he's 34.
Nick's for sure older than 34.
Google. Nick's 34 years old.
Nick is for sure older than 34.
Nick is 34 years old.
No way. So how old is Nate?
He's 35. Sorry. In August, he turned 35.
Wow.
Okay.
He's been fighting since he was like 12.
Okay, so this is my point.
Why did I think he was almost 40?
Okay, but this is the point I want to make.
Damn.
This is
how old is Nate?
Nate's like 32, 33. They started fighting really young, okay? I think because they started...
suspended for like ever, and he's still only 35?
Yeah. This is what I'm thinking. I think because they started fighting so young, and they're really smart guys, contrary to popular belief.
No, I know that.
I think that they purposely take these
time
long
off.
breaks to have
I've heard that
longevity.
more than once. I've heard that
to
more
have
than once.
longevity in their career because they're always training, they're always in shape, they're always running triathlons,
Yeah, you're
decathlons,
right.
all that stuff.
I have heard that.
So I think he's purposely doing this so that he can still be fresh while all these guys that are his age. So think about him and Donald are the same age. Think about the difference in weapons.
crazy. Why did I think he was older?
Think about put both of them by the side.
How
and look
long
at
ago
them.
did he fight GSP?
God, 2012.
That had to have been before 2012.
2012 or 2011.
That's
Find
still
out.
6
Thank
years.
God for Google.
That's still 6 years though. That is crazy.
see.
So okay, this is different now. This feels a lot different now that I know that.
2013. So I was still wrong.
Okay, and then Jorge Masvidal was doing street fights with Kimbo Slice
in Miami.
Oh wow. Okay, so so what is your opinion about Nick Diaz? So you believe that he's in shape, ready to go?
I think Nick Diaz is in fantastic
I
shape.
fully believe that, and he's recovering. I can see that.
I think he's one of the few guys, because of the schedule he's decided to pick for himself at this point of his career, comes in as one of the few guys at 100%.
And I'm so happy for Jorge Masvidal he's getting this fight.
Yeah,
I think
that's a
another
big fight
money
for him.
fight for him. I think that'll probably be his biggest one.
Yeah. Who are you taking, Masvidal or Diaz?
Oh man.
If we had to open up Bet365 right now and put money on it, Masvidal or Diaz?
Man, I want to take Masvidal, but now you got me on this theory that you might be right, that he might be fresher than ever, and that Masvidal might not be in full favor. Because when you're that seasoned of a fighter, if you're training all the time, that's the Dominic Cruz shit. That's what Dominic Cruz is talking
exactly.
about. Right? That's the stuff he's talking about. But there's no ring rust.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, I think you're right. If he's training smart and constantly in shape,
and listen,
sparring enough,
and it's gonna sound crazy, but he's also a vegan, bro. You know what I mean? Like the way those guys.
It's at 70, and yeah, dude. You know what? I'll admit, when I heard about this fight, I was thinking of an older, more
weathered.
And you know what? We haven't seen him people think of him as a brawler, but we haven't seen any wars recently. His losses for the most part have been more tech. Even the GSP sort of gave him the worst beatdown ever, and he really couldn't.
No,
it was a much more technical fight than people would have realized.
Yeah, 100%.
He hasn't had any drag him out wars where even his brother's been in more crap with Conor.
The biggest war he's been in recently was BJ Penn.
Dude, and I know it's not fair. I know it's not fair to do this because DC's obviously not human. But I always compare people to that, and I say DC started his career 31.
Yeah.
Started. Like, yeah, he's Olympian, but wrestling is so rough on your body.
I know.
So, like, at 35, do you take care of yourself?
Yeah.
Man, that's a big fight.
So Diaz or Masvidal?
I want Diaz to win. I want him to win because
Yeah.
I think that's amazing for the sport.
Yeah. I think Diaz. I'm
gonna go with Masvidal because I think that the way he fights,
Yeah.
he can end up losing rounds being too patient. I've seen him do that a lot.
Fair.
And I think Masvidal's the type of guy that can play that game with you. He's not gonna get rattled by your talking.
No.
He'll kick you.
Yeah.
You'll talk. He'll kick you, and you'll end up losing rounds. I've seen Diaz lose that way.
Yeah.
So I don't think he gets whooped, but I think Masvidal wins.
I think Diaz wins, and I think even more to your point, if that's how it goes, 100% Diaz wins. Only because Masvidal has never been on the proper side of any close fight. If you check his record, he's lost every split decision. Anything that's ever been a close fight, he's never had a definitive win. I gotta go with Nick Diaz.
All right, we'll
see
out in March.
Yes, in March.
The fights.
We'll have more coming soon, guys. Thank you so much. Remember to like, share, subscribe.
Go to the YouTube, the Facebook, the Instagram, all that.
All of that. And
Appreciate
we'll see you
it,
soon.
guys.
Thanks.